Hey folks, I'm Cuz Strickland, and welcome to this episode of Tennessee Dirt, presented by Mossy Oak Properties Tennessee Land and Farm, a podcast dedicated to helping you find your favorite place. Each episode we'll talk about all things related to land ownership and conservation throughout the great state of Tennessee. And don't worry, there'll be plenty of hunting and fishing stories too. Our goal here is to help each of you live your best life in the Tennessee dirt.
Hey guys, welcome back to Tennessee Dirt 2026. To my right, Mr. Davis Fleming. To my left, David Hawley. David, welcome. We're so glad to have you here.
Man, it is great to be here. It's great to be in Nashville. Traffic's a little much for this kid from a red light town, but man, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not used to what you endured when you and the family drove into Nashville yesterday afternoon. We are here at the 2026 NWTF Sports Show and Convention, celebrating their 50th year, I believe, here for this sports show.
Yep.
So,
and
big
40
event.
for Mossy Oak.
Yeah, 40th year for Mossy Oak, obviously. Folks, we welcome you back. We did pretty good last year. We were on a roll, Davis, and then a little something called hunting season happened.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, our podcast went from like every 3 to 4 weeks to, we haven't filmed one in a couple months. So that's okay. We're back in 2026 and looking forward to it.
Yep.
Mr. David Hawley, thank you so much for being here. You are such a big part of Mossy Oak family, your whole family. I want you just to briefly introduce yourself. Tell us your role with Mossy Oak Properties, and how that all kind of came into being for you.
Yeah. So I'm from Livingston, Alabama,
Right.
which, if you don't know where that is, and you probably don't, it's about an hour south of Tuscaloosa. Live on a fourth-generation family farm. You know, it's in my blood. My family goes back very far with the Hayes family, actually, until the mid-'50s when my grandfather and Mr. Fox got to be best friends.
Wow.
And so my mom and Toxie grew up together like brother and sister, and then when Dad came along, him and Toxie, hit it off, and they've been like brothers ever since. So, when Toxie founded Mossy Oak in 1986, our family was part of the cheering squad, if you will, cheering them on. And then in parallel, Dad had his real estate business that, was kicking along. And in the late 90s, they just said, look, what if we started Mossy Oak Properties, and use the brand to help you sell land, here in West Alabama.
Right.
That was the original goal.
Yeah.
And so they started that and just started getting inundated with people from outside of our bubble.
Yeah.
That started saying, hey, I want you to help me find land in Kansas, or I'm looking to sell land in North Carolina.
Right.
But also a lot of land brokers that said, look, I want to pair up with the brand.
Yeah.
I bleed bottom land. I want to pair up with the brand.
Yeah. And that makes such perfect sense, without the conservation, the land, the critters, there's really not a need for camouflage patterns.
Yeah. So Toxie says that all the time.
Goes hand in hand, and I got that from him. He said it's a great line. I've always remembered that. I met you here 13 years ago.
Yeah.
You were on the other side. It was a little bit smaller real estate of a booth, and I saw the word properties for the first time, and I went up to you and your dad, and I said, what does that mean? What are y'all doing?
Yeah.
And you told me. Took me a couple years, but here we are. We opened up Tennessee Land and Farm back in 14. It's been a great journey. You've been such an integral part of that. What is your role with Mossy Oak Properties, your title, and just real quickly, what do you do for Mossy Oak Properties?
Yeah. So my official title is VP of New Business Development.
Right.
But we have kind of an all-in type mindset at our corporate team. I mean, there's nothing that I'm not willing to do.
Yeah.
For the good of the team. I mean, taking out the trash,
Hey, I love that guy.
You got to do it all, You got to do it all. So, but really what I focus on a lot of is, of course, planning our land summit, which is coming up in 2 weeks.
That's right.
The end of February. And then, working on a new training program, a lot of value add type stuff in franchise relations. That's really what I focus on.
Yeah. Well, you're such a key part, and you and your family, and we appreciate everything you do on the property side, and you've grown the network tremendously, and it's been a real blessing to be a part of it. All right, most of the people that are watching this podcast want to hear about turkey hunting, and I know for a fact that this guy right here next to me is probably one of the best turkey hunters, most intelligent turkey hunters, and has the most wisdom about turkeys than probably anybody I know. And I didn't grow up turkey hunting in Florida. I didn't start turkey hunting until I got here to Tennessee, so I'm a little bit new to it in the last 2 decades. How did you become so obsessed with turkey hunting, David? And how young were you? Was it your family that got you involved, obviously?
Yeah, so my granddad, he turkey hunted. My dad turkey hunted. We even think my great-granddad turkey hunted a little bit. He was a cattle farmer, worked 14 hours a day on a horse. So he probably was not breaking daylight every morning, but I believe, based on conversation, he killed some turkeys.
Gotcha.
So that would put me at a 4th-generation turkey hunter. So it's just kind of in my blood. We live in an area that there's a lot of turkey hunters, and, it's just kind of dyed in our wool a little bit. We had turkeys back in kind of the dark days when there were a lot of, because we have river drainages and places like that that held them. So, so it's just kind of in my blood. But I actually started, I killed my first turkey in 1995, I believe it was. So I was 9 years old and just became just obsessed with, I wasn't watching like Ghostbusters and like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was watching The Truth and those old VHSs and reading the old magazines and things like that. Yeah. So I really became kind of a turkey nerd. I started doing competition calling, when I was about 12 or 13. I was actually on the David Letterman show twice.
I was going to bring that up because I tried to find that clip on YouTube. It doesn't exist. Yeah. Is it on YouTube? I looked for it.
Yeah, I hope it's not.
we'll just add it into this video.
We'll get the producers to put it in a little square.
We're going to clip the
David Hawley was on the David Letterman show when he was 11 years old, is that right? And did a turkey, because you had won a competition. That's why you went up there.
Yeah.
You remember that, obviously.
Yeah, it was a great memory. It was a fun memory. I hope the video is buried somewhere, but it was cool.
Is that your first time and only time in the big city of New York?
Yeah.
If you thought traffic was bad here when you came to town, New York was probably...
He asked me what I thought. I said, it's big. And of course, everybody laughed. Yeah.
Who was your mentor? Who taught you how to call turkeys? And there's so many different ways to call in a turkey. I'm sure you remember calling in your first bird. Most people do. How did you learn how to use the tools of the trade?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dad was and is a great caller. He did some competition also, so there was a lot of competitive callers around us back then. Guys that had won championships and things like that. And back then there were a lot of local contests. I mean, I'm not going to say every county had one, but you could hit up 10 contests in the state of Alabama back then. Now it's like 1 or 2. And so just going to those and hearing those, but really what kind of molded me was watching the videos. And I would lock myself in my room and watch, the old Truce and the old Nightingales.
On a VCR tape.
Yeah. And then those CDs of Spit and Feathers came out, and listening to Real Hens, which I think is critical.
Yes.
That really helped me a lot. But I've kind of got a musical ear. I play music you do.
That's right.
And that kind of helps me a little bit. I think it gives me a little bit of an advantage.
I didn't think about that. Being a good musician or having that ear maybe helps with some of that turkey calling exercises. You've turkey hunted your whole life too, Davis?
Somewhat. Grew up doing it with my granddad. He's the one that introduced me into the outdoor world.
Yeah.
Kind of got away from it for a little bit in my high school days and stuff, and then the last 7-8 years I've been heavy on the turkeys again.
When it comes to calls, box calls, slate calls, diaphragm calls, what's your go-to call? Does it depend?
Well, yeah, and I'll kind of get a little bit deeper into that, but I'm a mouth call guy. I can run a mouth call pretty well, and that's what I practice on, but I believe in having a war chest. Something to me and somebody's been talking about this, because there's this big, craze of trumpet calls now, which if you're not familiar, you're probably familiar with wing bones. This is basically an adaptation of that. It's a suction style call, and it's got now like Rolling Thunder's making them with like an acrylic barrel in there, but it's a different sound. And I think what a lot of people are kind of figured out is that there's something in that sound that turkeys respond to. Not every turkey, but turkeys respond to. And me and some buddies were sitting around talking about why, and I think it's twofold. I think there's a sound in there that maybe turkeys don't hear every day, so it kind of helps with the pressure deal. Maybe there's a frequency, and some that quality of that sound that triggers them a little bit. But also, I think I've had a lot of hens respond to that because it's more of a clear sounding call, which kind of mimics more of younger hens.
Right.
And I think these social dynamics where you have, there's a hierarchy in hens just like it is gobblers.
Right.
Just like you have in bucks, and deer. I mean, there's a social hierarchy. I think it disrupts that, and that's why hens a lot of times respond, because that boss hen says, no, this is my turf here,
Right.
I don't want you new chick on the block coming in here. I got all these gobblers myself.
Does weather play a factor into different call styles as
Yeah.
well? Like in the
Yeah.
duck world, I'm more in tune with ducks than I am turkeys, actually. So, duck world, high skies, sunshine, high wind, you can get a little louder on the call.
Yeah.
Low ceiling, clouds, quiet morning,
Yeah.
quiet call.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it is you got to be versatile, and you got to you can't be a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
The people that consistently, kill the most turkeys, they got several qualities. One is they got a pretty deep toolbox. And a lot of that comes via experience, because they've done it so many times and seen so many things that have gone wrong and said, this is how I'm going to do this differently next time, and it's worked. But on calling, yeah. And a lot of times inclement weather impacts, like you can't run slate calls and some friction calls when it's wet weather.
Yeah.
You got to stick to things that the weather is not going to impact. But turkeys are very impacted by weather. Barometric pressure has a big deal with them. I've got some crazy theories about that. But yeah, weather definitely impacts calling.
I've been fortunate enough to go turkey hunting with some really good turkey hunters. Doug Kinzer, Cuz Strickland, because also he has a tube call, which I know I don't see a lot around here, but he uses that as a locator. So in other words, right when we get in the woods, he'll blow the fire out of that thing.
Yeah.
He'll get a response, and right then, that's pretty much all that tool's done. Then then he adapts, and we'll go to whatever else might present itself as the next function. That's a pretty popular way to do that. Hoot owl calls early.
Absolutely.
Same kind of thing,
Yeah.
So I know you brought a couple calls, and this is really what I know people want to hear, and I'm excited to hear this too. But I would love for you just to act like we've got, an elementary audience out there, and just kind of go through some of the calls you brought, go through the sound you're mimicking, and talk about that so that listeners can hear from one of the best in the business.
So the way I kind of equate calling is like, imagine learning Spanish for the first time and you're just trying to learn words.
Right.
You've got to get to where you can have a conversation, where the call that you've got in your mouth, or you're running with a friction call, it's more than just making individual words. Just like you're having a communication, a conversation with that gobbler. You're essentially stepping into, like I was talking about, that complex community they have.
Right.
Becoming the new hen on the block and trying to convince him that you belong there. It's worth him coming to you, because we got to realize, like, the hens go to the gobblers. That's natural. They strut and they gobble, and they're doing that for a reason,
right,
to attract hens. So we're kind of reversing nature.
Right.
And so I tried to basically, like, let's just say it's early morning, turkey's gobbling on the limb. If he's by himself, I'm typically going to let him fly down. If he's got hens around him, I'm going to try to match what they've got going on. You ever hear in fishing, match the hatch? You're just trying to match what's going on, his temperature, what's other hens around, other turkeys around, things like that. And so early morning, let's just say he's by himself. He's flown down. I'm going to start him off pretty slow, and I'm actually going to cut him. The first thing I will do normally is when he gobbles the first time on the ground, I'm going to cut him off.
Interrupt him.
And say, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
And that kind of tells me, like, if he fires right back,
he's active.
I'm going to try to break him at that point.
Gotcha.
And have breakfast pretty early.
At the Waffle House.
Cuz talks all the time about breaking their bubble. And turkeys can be broken where something rises in them and they just, all right, I'm committed.
Yeah.
Then if there's turkeys that are slicker and have had bad experiences, they just are happy where they're at. Turkeys, you have to be where they want to be or willing to go. And if you're not, the setup is so important. We could talk about that for days. But on the calling side, a lot of best calling in the world, you hear hens all the time out in the woods, real hens. Gobblers aren't going to go there because she's in a place that, I got scared by a predator there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's some sort of experience and intuition that says I'm not going.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but first thing in the morning I'm going to do is, let's say he cuts me off, I'm just going to do a little like 2-note yell like. Well, my tail flipped on my collar.
Get it warmed up.
I'm going to try a different call for that. But yeah, I'm going to do a little let's do it on a slate call. That's more foolproof. So I'm running a friction call, and I'm going like, so I'm just cutting him off. And then as he starts to ramp up, I'm going to.
More aggressive.
Yeah, I'm going to try to break him at that point.
Yeah.
So.
Is it more important with the visual, or is it more important to have the sense of sound and calls to kill a turkey? Or is it a combination of both?
So, the setup is really important. You need to have an area that he's going to want to get on to look, and you need to be able to shoot to that. There's an old turkey hunter down by us, George Mayfield, that calls that a stage. I grew up not using decoys in Alabama. Mm-hmm. We couldn't use them until 2006 or 7, so I don't use them today. And so that whole aspect of the setup doesn't matter to me.
Right.
But there is a point, and that's a good point for those that do use decoys. You have to have a communication with him most times until he gets to a point where he can see your setup, if that's what you do. So yeah, it's a conversation until he's in a position where it's kind of working him down the sales funnel.
Yeah.
He's got to get to a place where he says, all right, that noise I've been hearing, I can see it now. I'm going to commit.
So they work in tandem.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get that thing warmed up, man. I know you can
that's
do some
embarrassing right there,
incredible
man.
stuff with that. Hey, this is live podcast.
Hey, it's
Yeah,
real
live.
life, man.
Live.
I know you
it's
didn't
the
do
truth. It's the truth.
I know you didn't do this on the David Letterman show, by the way. That's a little more important. That's clean. That's clean.
I hope so. I can't tell how it sounds.
I can tell it's clean. And there's so many different variations
Yeah.
of what you can do with that.
Yeah.
I've watched some of these turkey calling competitions, and it's amazing what these folks can do with a mouth
really
call.
is.
It really is something else. And
And that's why I quit competing. Like, compared to them, no. I mean, it's pretty impressive. If you're ever around one of these bigger competitions, if you come to Nashville, if you're listening to this, come next year, go watch those competitions and see what they can do. It's pretty amazing.
And
Learn
folks,
so much.
You can Google that on YouTube,
Yeah,
NWTF competition, and watch it. I'd encourage you to do that. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating, the
Absolutely.
sounds that those folks can mimic.
And what they try to do too is what's really important. They're listening to real turkeys all the time. Like, they've got those recordings. That's what I advise. Like, we get caught in the mindset of wanting to sound like this person or that person or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a hen in my head, like Davis probably does when he runs a cut down or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a mallard hen in his head. He's not just trying to sound like Drake Levy or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the most common mistake hunters make when they turkey hunt? Overcalling? You hear that sometimes.
I
like
think
less
it's
is
not
more.
getting the setup right.
Yeah.
That's really important. Not knowing the bird, that's really, really important because, I mean, you've got to understand your opponent. It's just like anything in life. If you're in sales, like who's your competition or who's your client you're going after, anything like that. You got to really understand that and what drives them. Understand their social hierarchies. They're just a lot that you just got to get out there and fail, and get better.
Like in
Put
so
your
many
time
different
in.
things, yeah.
Put your
Yeah.
time in.
Go ahead, Davis.
Not learning the land,
Yeah, that's-
when you
That's
hunt,
kind of what I was
that's-
going to hint on there. Your neighbors, especially here in Tennessee, we don't have, here in Middle Tennessee, there's not a lot of large tracts still left as far as 300-400 acres, especially here in Middle Tennessee, to where you can kind of manage your own birds.
Yeah,
Your neighbors, getting to know your neighbors is a big deal.
yeah. Yeah.
What's your favorite way to harvest a turkey, to kill a turkey? Do you have a certain gun gauge you use as your go-to? I'm sure you've had that probably for a long time and have lots of options there.
Yeah, I shot a 12 for years, and then with TSS, I kind of just toting around a heavier gun. I backed off to a 20.
Yeah.
That stuff's deadly.
It is, and I shoot it, I don't shoot it for distance. I shoot it for efficiency. I mean, I
Clean.
shoot a more open choke, and I missed some last year, but you can still miss one with TSS.
It's possible.
It is possible, yeah. But to me, it's the most ethical thing you can shoot. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's really the cheapest part of your hunt when you start taking into account all the other stuff you spend money on.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
I shoot a red dot, and my eyesight's not great. And I shoot a red dot and TSS and a more open choke, and I love my setup. So.
Yeah. Now you have how many kids?
Two boys. Yeah.
Give us their ages
6 and 4.
and their names.
Bud and Jack.
That's right.
Yep.
Bud. Yeah.
Tell us about rearing young future turkey hunters. When does that start? How does it look? Has the oldest one killed a turkey yet? I'm sure they probably have been with you many times. What does that look like?
So my oldest, I think it really just varies on. I've had a lot of our buddies. We've all got kids the same age, and we've had this discussion. Every child's different.
Yeah.
Every parent's different. I want Bud to appreciate the turkey first before just I want to kill one. So he actually went with me twice last year and actually watched me miss one. He's like, Daddy.
Wait, you missed one?
Yeah, I missed one.
See,
I had
folks,
a lot of bad juju. You might not want to be very close to me right now. I did shake it out at the end of the year, so the juju's gone. But yeah, I want him to appreciate turkeys and love turkeys first.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I was 9 when I killed mine, and I matured late. Bud, he's a little hard-headed, kind of like I probably was. So that's going to have to be a perk for him. Like, hey, until you learn to listen in mine,
Right.
But I want them to be exposed to it. I want them to value the turkey. I want them to value the conservation aspect.
Yeah.
The fact that we have a family farm, what a blessing that is,
Right.
being able to hunt that together.
Yeah.
Because, see, my brother has 4 kids. We all live on the farm. He lives one creek over. His oldest killed his first last year, and we were really pumped about that. So we do things as a family.
I love that.
So, yeah, I was actually in South Carolina and got the text on the way back, and I had to pull over and shed a few happy tears.
That's awesome.
So
I guarantee you that was a great moment for y'all. Your kids are here. Your family's here at the show. Folks, if you haven't been to the NWTF show here, it is a family event. Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you walk through those doors and you get into to this section where we're at, you're overwhelmed. And guess what? This is the smaller of the convention halls here, the exhibit halls. But families can really enjoy. Kids can. I brought my girls here when they were younger, and they were fascinated. And they do learn to appreciate not just turkey hunting, but everything about the outdoors here. You'll have your kids here, I'm sure, later this afternoon, and you'll walk through this hall, and they'll see things that they have never seen before.
and they want to buy everything.
Yeah, it's a bad place to have a credit card.
That's why we got to
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think it's so important to get our kids involved and teach them about the conservation side of things. Look, we live in a world that just places such an emphasis on growth and consumption and all these things,
Right.
and it's instantaneous, type mindset. The most rewarding thing, so what's really molded me as a conservationist, so we've always had strong turkey numbers on our farm, but in 2015 I went 40 out of our 46 mornings, and 2/3 of those mornings I did not hear a turkey.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was a shock. I mean, you want to talk about whiplash from where we were.
Right.
We just had some bad hatches in a row, and you got to have good hatches. So I went straight on board, like I'm not going to let this happen again, and been battling our rears off, trapping and burning and creating habitat, taking it really light. I mean, I haven't killed a turkey on our farm in, 7 years now, probably. Because I knew these kids were coming along. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And we're starting to turn the corner a little bit, and others are doing the same, and they're seeing the results. It's so rewarding.
Yeah.
when you get to that phase in life. And like, I think that's what's so important. We've got so many young hunters coming into it and they're excited about turkeys. We need foot soldiers for conservation too. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a hunter and wanting to kill turkeys and things like that. We just need to give back more than we take.
I love that.
Yeah. Correct.
The people talk about the Grand Slam. I assume you've completed a Grand Slam?
I actually have not. I'm kind of unique in the fact that I'm very much a homebody.
Yeah.
I love hunting I love hunting Alabama. I love hunting with my dad. I mean, I was telling somebody the other day, I've probably hunted with my dad 50+% of the mornings I've ever hunted.
Love that.
And as long as he's able to do that, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Because
important.
That's really important.
I love
That's
that.
really important.
I would have thought you had done that. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. I've killed an Osceola, a Rio, one in, of course, Eastern, but I've never done a Miriam.
So you're just missing one.
Yeah. But
Jamie, you got the Florida Connect.
I do. Well, he's already killed the
I've
Osceola.
killed the Osceola. Yeah, that's the toughest one right now and the most expensive.
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Cuz does a Wounded Warrior hunt
Yeah.
down there every year, which is so important.
Yeah.
Now, has your son gone turkey hunting yet?
Not yet. He's only 3.
He's a little young.
We're on that stage of introducing him into the gunfire, of being around guns. That's the safety.
Yeah.
Safety with the guns. That's what I'm trying to get into right now is safety and understanding you're around other people when you're hunting. So.
Yeah.
Well, and what David said about teaching him to appreciate the bird, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mr. Fox, Mr. Tom Kelly had a lot to do with conservation, not just in turkey hunting, but in the outdoor world. We recently lost Mr. Fox, a special man to me in the limited time that I got to know him, and I know a special man to you and your family. And of course, you guys honor him in so many different ways, and I think that's so important. But he means a lot to the family, and I know that was tough for everybody to go through. But we want to honor him and his saying, "The good that men do will live long after they're gone." You want to talk about Mr. Fox?
Yeah, if I can. Yeah, it was amazing. We had him for 95 years. You know, a lot of people know this from watching the documentary, but he had tuberculosis when he was a young man and lived the rest of his life with one lung and just had a lot of health issues throughout his life. And so the fact he lived to 95, I think there was a lot of divinity in it. And a lot of will to live, but I think God kept him here because he was able to tell the story about conservation a lot more. You know, the thing about Uncle Fox that I tell people a lot of times, I had a ton of people from the Mossy Oak Properties Network reach out. I said, you know, he's exactly the person you saw in public as he was in private.
Yeah.
He never sought out the fame or fortune. He just did it by being himself, and people gravitated to that. But he truly was a conservationist and leaves a big hole, but incredible legacy in the fact that we have so much of his wisdom that we can carry forth, that we have memorialized forever,
right.
You know, in film and sound.
Right.
If you haven't watched The Colonel and the Fox, it doesn't even matter if you're a turkey hunter. I know a lot of your listeners, you know, are here for other reasons, but I encourage you to do that because it really sheds a positive light on what we are as hunter conservationists,
Right.
And how we really brought the wild turkey back from the brink of extinction.
Yeah.
I mean, here in Tennessee, for example, Tennessee was one of the first states in the 60s or 70s that they really did a lot of restocking efforts. And, you know, Tennessee, I don't believe, other than the river drainages on the Mississippi River, had a huntable population of turkeys. May have had closed seasons for a long time.
Right.
And so it's been one of the best success stories in our country. And so, I know a lot of your listeners are here from Tennessee, but I encourage you to go watch The Colonel and Fox. You can find it on YouTube. And
It's excellent.
you'll shed a few tears, even if you don't know the men, just because it's a great story on what we as hunters have done for conservation.
You don't have to be a turkey hunter to enjoy that film. Very well done. Well, lastly, we have the Land Summit coming up.
Yep.
And I know you work extremely hard, all the folks in the corporate office there at West Point and Mississippi and Alabama, they're putting that together. And for folks that don't know, that's where all of the offices all throughout the nation, Mossy Oak Properties, get together for some training and to, celebrate successes, to learn. and it's so well put together. Talk a little bit about the Land Summit. I know you put a lot into it, and we're looking forward to being there.
Yeah, we are too. I mean, our culture is so unique at Mossy Oak Properties. I mean, it really is like a family, and that's like a family reunion. Yeah. It's a lot of work for us, but gosh, it leaves us. It's just so uplifting for us to see everyone and see how much they love being a part of, what we've all built together. I mean, that's the cool thing about what we have at Mossy Oak Properties. Everyone's had a hand in building it. And so, the summit this year is going to be really special, with it being the 40th anniversary as well as celebrating a great life.
Yeah.
You leave with a fire to go and be better.
Put something in your belly.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, you get to hang around with really cool people for a few days.
Yeah.
Like-minded people. Hey, I want to talk to you about, we're coming into spring. What is the best thing a landowner can do to get ready for turkeys?
And it varies so much state by state, but the one thing is you've got to have brooding and nesting habitat on your property, because if you don't raise turkeys, you won't have turkeys. Now, it's a little bit of a what came first, chicken or egg, but brooding habitat is going to be like clover fields, early successional habitat. So think of like these fields that you've got like goldenrod and some of these like forbs they're tall, but the ground is kind of bare where little poults can walk through there. There's insects,
bugs,
bugging areas, things like that. Nesting is going to be a little bit different. Think of your kind of thicker areas, like some of your grassy fields. Like if you let that fallow field go 1 year past being brooding habitat a lot of times. So the way in Alabama we do that is through prescribed fire.
Yeah, so we don't do that as much here.
Yeah. And it's difficult when you get places where there's a lot of population because of smoke concerns around that. But there's other things you could do. I mean, I'm big on managing your openings, keeping your clover fields maintained, your travel corridors, your roads. Give those turkeys a place to walk, place to be. Tennessee's habitat's just naturally so good with these hardwoods and these hardwoods, and a lot of times these south-facing slopes will get a little bit thicker. They'll get kind of some of that Mount Laurel and some things that will be better for nesting. So I think that's one reason why Tennessee recruits turkeys very well, is because they have that. I'm a big proponent of predator control. I believe that that's important.
Yes.
In tandem with habitat work. We have lost a lot of our trapping culture from back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, all that, when people were doing that because of the fur market and things like that. So us as landowners have to kind of counter that with efforts on our own to remove those, particularly the nest predators, the raccoons, the opossums, skunks, things like that. But habitat is, and I will say that is number one. But predator control can be done also and is effective when paired with habitat control.
And people should not be scared to burn.
No, not at all.
And there is plenty of programs out there to help you do that for the first time.
Yeah.
TWRA, you can contact them and they'll come to your property and they'll do it. They'll help you step by step managing how to burn.
Yeah.
And it's something that I would like to see done more here in Tennessee.
We don't do it in Tennessee as much as they do it in Alabama and Mississippi, I don't think.
Yeah, Alabama burns, I think, like 1.6 million acres a year. We burn all. I'm a pyro, but I'm also a certified burn manager in Alabama. I took a 4-day course, and I'm probably pushing 200 burns deep now. So I know what I'm doing. Never want to like watch a YouTube video or read a PDF and go do a burn.
Yeah.
But there are programs out there. Most states will have some sort of burn course that you can learn how to do it. The biggest thing is you got to manage your fire control, which is fire breaks. You got to manage your fire intensity so that you don't, scar trees or kill timber that you don't want to. And then you've got to manage your smoke, and that's the big thing that really gets people in a lot of trouble and liability. But in Alabama, the course and following the kind of the guidelines protects us from liability. Where if we do what we're supposed to do, and just the conditions lie to us or something happens, the state will back us on that. So,
what is the perfect condition?
Yeah, really, what you're looking for is kind of bluebird days 5 to 10 mile an hour winds where that smoke can lift and disperse. We got a fire forecast that we go through that has like mix and height, which if you ever see a smoke plume, it's like you'll see it top out and then it starts to tail. Yeah. When you see that tail start to break up, that's what we call dispersion. So there's an index that tells you how well it'll do that. So that's the two indicators I look at. I also look at humidity, like I said, wind speed. But a lot of times those bluebird days, like 2 or 3 days after a big front's moved through, are really good days. Yeah, you don't want it to be dead still because that's going to impact a lot of your dispersion and things like that. But you want a little a wind to keep it moving, and But it's a vital tool for what we do.
Anything you want to plug? Your social media, by the way, has had such an impact on turkey hunting and hunting in general, by the way. Wild Turkey Report.
Yeah.
I'm saying that right.
Are
you still active with that?
I still do that. Yeah, a little bit. I'm not as active as I was 10 years ago.
Well, you got 2 kids.
Career and kids, But yeah, and I'm mostly, honestly, talk about habitat stuff there now. Yeah. There's so many people right now that are banging that drum on conservation. It's just cool to see.
It's a crowded market.
Yeah.
But it's a good one.
Yeah, but back to the habitat stuff. One thing I didn't plug here. There's a lot of quail initiatives out there.
Yeah.
Look into those too, because those are good for turkeys. A lot of the initiatives down in Alabama with some of our quail projects have been removing eastern red cedar. That's a big thing that's here in Tennessee. And a lot of that's from fire exclusion. Yeah. That's not a fire adapted ecosystem, and the reason why is because we suppress fire. Most of our landscapes had fire either naturally through lightning strikes or either our forefathers, the Native Americans, were lighting fires. And so a lot of these places, what they're doing is they're going and doing timber stand improvement, removing eastern cedar, some of the undesirable kind of hardwoods, and leaving the oaks and leaving kind of these savannas and doing burns and stuff. So check some of that stuff out, these programs that are out there. It's really cool what they're doing in some of these mountain glades and things to create that habitat.
Where can folks learn about that?
Google.
Yeah.
But I imagine
everything.
TWRA has resources on that.
I'm sure they do.
NWTF in your state's probably got resources, Quail Forever. These organizations have a lot of resources out there.
And I don't think people utilize them enough.
Your local NRCS has programs through the Farm Bill. You just got to get curious and start seeing what's available. A lot of these things don't get publicized like they should, but they're out there and available.
I heard this on the Mossy Oak Gamekeeper podcast. The batwing bush hog is what, here in Middle Tennessee, everyone likes a golf course front lawn, and it has destroyed our quail population here.
Yeah,
the batwing bush hog.
We try to have no mow May and no mow June. We don't mow in that. We will mow early before they start nesting to keep things, the places we want to keep like a park where turkeys can strut, bug, and things like that. That's kind of what I talked about, managing your clover plots.
Yeah.
Do that early and then put that bush hog away.
Yeah.
And if you have to keep folks' places clean, you can do herbicide and things like that. But the bush hog can be a bad thing. Early haying, which farmers have to do what they have to do. But we try to have no mow May and no mow June for that reason.
I like that.
All right, the doors are about to open here, folks. It's 9 a.m. on Friday. We're in the middle of this sports show. If you have time and you want to grab the family, come on out to the Opryland Convention Center for the 50th annual NWTF show. This is Jamie Spencer, Davis Fleming, David Hawley, Tennessee Dirt. We're so glad to be back. We've got another podcast scheduled in a couple weeks from Mississippi. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. David, thank you so much for your time, your wisdom. We love you. We love your family, and we can't wait to spend some time with you in Mississippi.
And I want to say this, too. It's been such a joy working with y'all.
Well,
thank you.
I just, they say when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I say for us, it's when you love who you work with.
I love that.
You never work a day in your life, so we're very blessed, brother.
Appreciate you. Folks, thanks for tuning in to the Tennessee Dirt Show 2026. We'll see you on the next episode. Appreciate you. Be safe.
Hey, thank you for listening to Tennessee Dirt, presented by Mossy Oak Properties, Tennessee Land and Farm. And be sure to visit us at mossyoakproperties.com to connect with our team and our collection of listings located throughout the state of Tennessee.